what if the trauma education that we've seen today, that 18,000 people have had free access to, what if that was in every school, every teacher, every police officer, every judge was just normal in society? In the same way as, for example, in England, most people know how to swim. That's just normal. Most Dutch people know how to speak English. That's just normal education in Holland, right? So, you know, most people know how to drive a car in the United States. It's just normal, yeah? So what would the world be like? Some of you are smiling. What would the world be like if this stuff was as normal as a Dutch person speaking English or an English person knowing how to go to the pub? Totally normal part of education. How would that be? Kathleen, we'll do 1 minute again.
First of all, I have to say, yay you, because this is what the Embodiment Conference is creating globally. So fucking well done you for implementing this and making this accessible and available to everybody. I'm your BFFs forever. And this, if this happened in the schools, Minnesota wouldn't be happening. I would not feel fear driving to the grocery store, fear that I could be shot, killed for driving while being Black, if this type of education was in the schools. So keep doing what you're doing, Mark. I'm your champion.
Hey, it takes all of us, but thank you. I'll take it. There's a whole team here. Thank you.
I'll just jump in and say David Berceli is now in the house as well, so he can.
Great. We'll add him off the order we've gone in, so it's not confusing. We'll definitely add David in. So David, welcome. The question here is, what would the world be like if trauma education was completely normal? Paul.
The first time I taught Aikido in Germany, it was at a university, and after the Aikido, we went into the showers. And I froze. I didn't expect it. The panic just hit me. And that carries across. It carries across from generation to generation, from group to group. We have to intervene on the individual level with the awareness that we're trying to change the social level at the same time. By the way, does anybody know why I panicked? Some people will, some people won't.
The surname's a giveaway. Anyone guess? Paul's Jewish.
The Jews were herded into the showers by the Nazis. And it was in my bones somehow to panic. I don't know how, but that stuff carries from person to person and from group to group. We have to eliminate it all at once, or at least make people willing to face it.
Yeah, like that when we run out of potatoes in my house. Okay, Steve Haines.
I used to believe that information would set us free. I think the experience of the internet has shown us it hasn't actually. And I feel quite bleak. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I haven't got a good answer here. I'm going to pass, I think.
I want to hear more of the bleakness. I think it might make a nice balancing point. So if you're willing.
Well, you can. I think community. What I see around is suffering and power are sort of deeply entrained, and there'll always be people who have power over people. And I don't have good theories about how that can change. And I think collectively understanding our story is deeply important, but I don't know how to manifest that. I think the work you're doing is amazing, and I think education, I love giving out information, and I love trying to support individuals, but that step from my individual work to meeting people flummoxes me. So I don't know would be a genuine answer.
Steve, thank you. And I don't know is a really valid answer. Thank you. Okay, Valerie, how would the world be different if trauma education was normal?
Well, basically, Black women would be able to go swimming and not worry about destroying their weave on. Okay. Only Black people will get that, or people in relationship with Black people. Okay. I don't know what world you live in, Mark, but you know, we're told that we can't swim as Black people, you know. Yeah. So, gosh, what would happen? Well, I tell you another thing. we would be on summits. I want to say thank you to you. It was so great to see another person of color on this panel. There's a big trauma summit happening in Belfast online, and not one person of color on that panel. If we want to change the world, then we have to think about diversity. And of course, if the education was in the schools, I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have any traumatized adults to do my therapy work with. I'll be poor.
Valerie, thank you. We do our best. Okay, next up, Stephen Porges.
Okay, so this is kind of bringing it all together. When I went to Indiana to tell them that I was going to create a traumatic stress research, a consortium, a center to study research, they had no idea what I was talking about. They thought I was talking about people being hit on the head. And this is 6 years ago. So this just kind of tells you the consciousness of what people need to know. So first we need to know we're connected. But the second thing is part of that connection is we have to acknowledge and respect that we all have traumatic histories. So it's this transgenerational trauma, which is obvious with people of color. And it's obvious if you're Jewish, if you think about your history or the history, you know it's there. But if you talk to people in London, virtually everyone in London has experienced transgenerational trauma. And this was really a very special, transformative moment to me when I was talking in London a few years ago and saw the fragility as I looked at the audience and actually did an experiential, and there were 300 people in the audience and 40 to 50 people destabilized under the experiential. And suddenly it came to my mind that I wasn't walking into an environment with cultured, civilized people like the American view of the London community is. I was walking into an environment with people who were in deep transgenerational.
Even I want to be really fair to everyone.
Done. Transgenerational trauma. We have to acknowledge
not
it.
civilized. Steve Hoskinson.
I would yield 15 seconds to Stephen Porges.
All yours, Steve.
All right. Hey, I just want to say thank you for everybody. I'm so moved by what you're saying, Steve Haines. Yeah, I had no idea. And to hear the voices of these amazing people of color, the Black women here, thank you. Oh, my God. I think if we succeed somehow, then we succeed in being able also for ourselves to live with a broken heart. You know, what we're seeing in the United States right now across the country means that we have some grieving left to do, and we're just starting. And if this can encourage us to be more open-hearted and to live also broken-hearted, then we'll connect with each other much better. So that's my vision.
Thank you, Steve. And I want to welcome in David, the founder of Trauma Releasing Exercises, and frankly, one of the good guys in this field. I've interviewed him and really enjoy his company. So David, welcome. If you want to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. I will take my 1 little minute. I love everything everybody said. I want to try to complement it, and I'm going to add a different side to it, maybe to help us with balance. The two words that always come to me when there's chaos, confusion, violence, anger, etc., humility and stillness. Now, by humility, I don't mean humiliation, but I do mean stillness. When there's chaos outside, I absolutely know that if the more still and the more quiet I am inside, and the longer I do that, some pulsation or some impulse comes from me towards the right movement. Oops.
You still there, David?
Yeah. So if I'm not still, I will do 10,000 things very rapidly, and they will most likely not produce much of anything. If I sit still and I'm quiet and I find some place of the best I could call it, it's sort of along Stephen Porges' line, the humility that I am part of a humanity, not just me, I'm part of a humanity. In that stillness, an impulse of movement comes out, and that one movement is worth more than 10 other thousand frantic movements that I do.
Yeah, I'm going to follow on that and say, let's have a minute of stillness and silence. If it doesn't feel okay for you, of course, you can move around. But if you're willing to join in, it'll be a minute of stillness and silence.